John Hook's Newsmaker Saturday starts now.
Thanks for joining us on Newsmaker Saturday. If you thought 2021 was a rough year along the border, you may not have seen anything yet. There are projections now that this year, 2022, we may see more than 2 million entries along the southern border with the United States. 2 million. We're going to talk about it this week on Newsmaker Saturday with the sheriff of Cochise County. Cochise County, just to let everybody get their bearings, is in the far southeastern corner of the state. And it is a border county that is, getting an influx like they've never seen. This is a county of about roughly 130,000 people live in Cochise County. Joining us today on Newsmaker Saturday is the Cochise County Sheriff, Mark Dannels. He's been in this position since, I think it was, you were first sworn in 2013. Is that right?
That's correct, John.
Good to see you, Sheriff Dannels. Give me a sense historically, 2013 to now. What have you seen along the border? Where were we then? Where are we now?
Well, it's quite drastically changed. This is my 37th, pushing on 38 years in law enforcement, working the border the entire time. And let me just say, we've seen the ebb and flow of law enforcement on the border, what's going on from having a handful of border patrol agents here to up to 1,500 at one time here in Cochise County. Now we're down to about 700, 600 right in there. So we've lost half our staffing of border patrol agents here. A year ago, a little over a year ago, we saw about, on our camera system, 300 to 400 illegal entries per month. Now we see on average 4,000 to 6,000 per month. And the escalation of the 6,000 continues to grow.
Where are these people going, Sheriff?
They're going to Maricopa County, Phoenix, Arizona, and then throughout the United States from there. And I base that, John, on the fact that in Cochise County right now, we're getting 900 to 1,000 cars coming from Maricopa County and beyond to Cochise County to pick up illegals.
I want to show you a piece that was done by Bill Malusian, who's done some really fabulous reporting on the border. And I'd like to say that he's joined by other journalists, but there aren't a lot covering this, frankly, and I can't figure out why. I have my suspicions, but this is a piece that uncovered secret flights going into the interior of the U.S., sanctioned by the U.S. government for the very people they say that they are restricting. Take a look, and I want to get your reaction on the back.
You trying to figure out what this is?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
New body cam footage out of New York shows the moment a local police officer came across a U.S. government charter flight that landed at Westchester County Airport in the middle of the night, full of illegal immigrants. As they exit onto the tarmac, the officer questions the federal contractors.
You're on a secure facility here, and we don't really know anything, and we're in charge of security. So that's hence where we're having a problem here.
A lot of this is just...
No, I get it. I just, like I said...
stuff that we don't tell people, because what we don't want to do is attract attention. We don't want the media.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even know where we're going when they tell us.
Yeah.
I get the whole secrecy and all this, but this is even above my thing.
What's the big secret? Everybody knows it's happening.
You know why? Because if it gets out, the government's betraying the American people.
The video was recorded in August and was released in a records request from GOP New York gubernatorial candidate Rob Astorino.
We're paying the bill on this, the taxpayers. Nobody is informed. But the federal government literally is breaking the law. Breaking the law.
At San Antonio Airport today, Fox News witnessed the mass release of more adult illegal immigrants by ICE. A federally contracted bus dropped dozens of the men off, who were then led into the airport by an NGO, free to travel across the country.
I thought the Biden administration wanted to abolish ICE, but now it's clear they just want to abolish our entire southern border.
And today, CBP announced that in just the first 3 months of fiscal year 2022, they have already seized over 2,700 pounds of fentanyl. That's enough to kill several 100 million people.
Joe Biden does not care that people are dying today because of the open border policies. that is allowing fentanyl to come into our country.
And a source within ICE tells me that the agency has in fact been releasing some illegal immigrants from their custody who have misdemeanor criminal records, things like assault or drunk driving. I reached out to ICE to ask about this. They did not deny it. They told me they do these releases on a case-by-case basis. Reporting in La Jolla, Texas, Bill Malugin, Fox News.
Cochise County Sheriff Mark Dannels is our guest on Newsmaker Saturday. You saw that report, reaction?
Well, it's so disappointing. It's so frustrating, but it's being shared. Not 31 border counties, we've experienced this. We've been seeing this for last year. We've seen the escalation of crime. We've seen the escalation of an open border policy. And in my county alone, we're seeing 10,000 getaways a month in the southeast corner of the state of Arizona, which includes Cochise. And these are aggravated individuals are being smuggled by the cartels into the United States, into your community, John, and beyond. This is a public safety, national security, and humanitarian crisis. And I've said it before, I'll say it on your show, the largest crime scene in this country right now by the federal government is the southwest border.
Sheriff, please just give me your opinion. Why do you think this is happening? I am at a loss. I'm trying to give the Biden administration the benefit of the doubt here, but I cannot figure out why they seem completely disinterested in addressing this.
Well, I'll say a couple things on that. Number one, if you go back and look at when President Biden was a senator, his stance on the border was a secure border. You look where we're at today. I also sat on President Biden's presidential transition team on behalf of national sheriffs, and this was not the tone at that point either. But since he took office, this has become a political ideology being played out on the southwest border, on the back of every border community, on the back of America. And it's not for the good. I've seen nothing good. Even the leadership of CBP, even the leadership, I'm talking about the men and women that wear a badge and a gun, have expressed their dissatisfaction. The morale's down on there. It is just a bad policy, failed leadership. I hate to be the one to say that, but it's not working. And every day we're enduring this with drugs.
I still can't, though, Sheriff, I still can't figure out what the motive would be. You could be incredibly cynical and say that people think that these are future votes, I guess. But that would take years and years for that to even come to fruition. What could possibly be the motive to kind of letting it fly on the border? I don't understand.
Well, I've had numerous discussions with Secretary Mayorkas, along with my fellow sheriffs. We've sent letters to the presidents on behalf of national sheriffs, on behalf of Arizona sheriffs, being the president of Arizona sheriffs, also the chairman of national sheriffs, trying to reach not the political side of this, but the factual public safety side, national security side, humanitarian, and we have gone on crickets. Secretary Mayorkas has met with us, but there's been no shared action, no messaging. And in the meantime, we've exposed America to some of the worst things when we opened up our borders, our doors, to a vulnerable population. What I mean by that is those that want to harm America, those who want to bring drugs in this country. There's only one answer on this, and it's truly, they know what's going on. They're intelligent people. They know what's going on. So the only thing you can go back to in a realistic, not a reasonable, not a logical, but what we see is politics at its worst is being played on right now.
Well, I guess it's a philosophical divide here. Perhaps the Biden administration feels that this is a humanitarian way to approach this. Maybe Republicans are, we've got to shore up the border at all costs, but Democrats look at it as a humanitarian situation, and people who want to come here and make a better life for themselves, they're willing to kind of say, let's let that happen. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Well, John, and as a component of what you're saying is factual. It truly is. But let's look at what's not being told, and especially besides, and I'll just say it, Fox Media. I mean, none of the international media is coming out in a strong voice on this. But look at the 270 people dying every day. Look at the drugs that we're seeing in my county and beyond that are coming across this border, exploited by the cartel. The fentanyl. 10,000 pounds last fiscal year. I mean, 180,000 pounds of meth. I mean, I can go on forever with stats. 162 people died in southern Arizona, illegals trying to make the trip. Tell me that's not humanitarian. That is a lack of the federal government.
That's a great point. You mentioned Secretary Mayorkas. I'm going to skip ahead on my tapes here. he met with frustrated Border Patrol agents here in Arizona on Wednesday amidst the crisis of largely Latin American migrants trying to enter the country from Mexico. He was met by some border agents who turned their back on the secretary, saying that he's turned their back on them. And Governor Ducey had this to say this week. He is really frustrated with what's happening. Here's Governor Ducey.
He will not administer the rule of law. He can't do his job. And if President Biden won't fire him, Congress should consider impeaching him.
Sheriff Dannels, Secretary Mayorkas is just carrying out policy of the administration. He's kind of the middleman in a way. Is he the guy to blame, or does it go beyond him?
Well, it starts with President Biden. I mean, these are his policy. He is the elected, trusted president of the United States to serve all Americans, not a political party. So it starts with him. But Secretary Mayorkas, who has a history with the Department of Homeland Security, accepted that role to serve the 60,000 men and women that serve CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. He has met with sheriffs. All we have got, and I'll just be blunt, is lip service. As a result of the failed to act, failed to lead, the Western sheriffs have come out with a vote of no confidence against Secretary Mayorkas. Going back to the meeting in Yuma, John, Sheriff Wilmot, the host sheriff in Yuma County,
yes,
declined to meet with Secretary Mayorkas based on two concepts. One, standing united with the Western sheriffs on the vote of no confidence based on numerous attempts to change the border. Number two was he made a comment, Sheriff Wilmot, that until they start protecting the Border Patrol agents and officers that are working on this border and start protecting them in a job that's just incredible right now.
I want you to speak to, if you can, that things have become more violent in your county as a result of this. You're seeing a shift now in the people coming across and the propensity toward violence. Can you share some of that with me?
I can. And I'll just give you a recent tragedy. We had a 16-year-old smuggler actually 100 miles an hour go through an intersection and kill a mom that was on her way to a birthday party. And sitting down with the son and talking to the son about his mom's not coming home again. That's a citizen in my county, two citizens, and a family that's been truly affected. And we have the 16-year-old in my jail right now. I also add, when it comes to something we've never seen, John, and that is the smugglers and the illegals taking an aggressive stance against law enforcement. We had 2 assaults on Border Patrol agents last couple of days. We had a local officer drugged by a smuggler who fought the officer, got back in his car. The officer tried to grab him. He took off with the officer still hanging onto the car. We also had one of my deputy sheriffs that on a traffic stop, the driver out of Phoenix, Arizona, gets out of the car, very unpredictable, very unstable, verbalizing with my deputy. 22 illegals jump out of the back of the cargo truck, rented U-Haul, and actually in Spanish said that they were going to overpower my deputy and take him down. Thanks to Border Patrol, my deputies that got there to save him. I'm telling you, we've never seen this. I had a citizen call me yesterday and say, Sheriff, I had some illegals on my property. I walked out there and I heard him talking, let's get the citizen. They were going to overpower the citizen.
That's scary stuff. That is a shift, because 10 years ago, that you did not see. Usually people would scatter. They would not want to engage citizens or law enforcement.
100% correct, Donna John. I worked, like I said, almost 4 decades down here on this border. And what I'm seeing today is something we've never seen. But it goes back to the lack of messaging, lack of consequences, and the defiance of the rule of law. And it's really harming us here on the southern border.
Sheriff, I was under the impression that the courts ruled on Title 42, the Remain in Mexico policy, and that, single males, which we just saw in that Bill Malusian piece, being ferried all over the country, that was a very group. People just coming here for economic reasons. I don't dispute that. I understand why they're doing it, but that's not asylum. And my understanding was they would be held in Mexico. Are you seeing that? It seems that there's a willful disregard of that court order, and they're not honoring it.
Well, the high courts even ruled that was a legal standing to have them stay in Mexico. Our own federal government, Homeland Security, challenged that ruling, which is to me a conscious intent of what they want to do. They want them in the country, John, and we have given up all the stats, and we have shared stories, tragic stories, but nothing has changed. And so the frustration with law enforcement, anyone who wears a badge, to include Governor Ducey, who I work very closely with, this is so frustrating what's going on here, because at the end of the day, it's only going to harm Americans one way or another.
We've got just about 30 seconds left. Do you see this changing anytime soon? Is there anything happening on the horizon or politically that might change this?
No, on the federal side, I see not. And I see President Biden, Vice President Harris, Secretary Mayorkas, and the administration having no intent to change anything. All we're getting is an illusion of thoughts and kind words. On the local state side, yes, Governor Ducey, my office, sheriffs engaged in this. We are actually setting up a border operations center on the southern border. We are doing some amazing things on the border within the state, local authority as peace officers, and collectively with our Border Patrol agents on the border. But when it comes to the big picture, 2022 is not going to be a good year the way we're going.
Well, I got to say, because you're a border county. Sheriff Mark Dannels, I appreciate your time again.
Thank you.
I wish you the best there. That is a very tough situation. Thank you,
Thank
Sheriff
you, John.
Daniels. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Coming up next on Newsmaker Saturday, we're going to completely pivot. We're going to talk about education and ASU with a new initiative, which is just remarkable, a global initiative to try to educate 100 million people. We'll talk about one of the people behind this who's put up $25 million of his own money to make it happen. We're back in a moment on Newsmaker Saturday. Back on Newsmaker Saturday, this is an amazing story. You've heard the adage that knowledge is power. Well, Arizona State University and the Thunderbird School of Management wants to educate 100 million people across the globe, free, online, through ASU. And one of the key people involved in this effort is the man who founded Pivotal Group, a private entrepreneurial investment firm. This is Francis Najafi, who is donating $25 million of his own money to this effort. Mr. Najafi, thank you so much for joining us on Newsmaker Saturday.
My pleasure.
Tell me why you decided to do this. This has kind of been, you've been marinating in this for many, many years. You came here from Iran back in 1972 to be educated in the United States, and you stayed, and you're the American dream.
Well, I have truly been privileged to have had a chance to come to this extraordinary country of ours and to have benefited from our educational system. Started with Arizona State University and at Thunderbird, and further actually at USC, but it was at Thunderbird that really I formed a lot of my thoughts. I learned how to apply not only basic business skills and even advanced skills in a different social cultural context, because ultimately I was not from here and I learned how to function. So the idea of really be able to function in another social, cultural, economic environment was always an obsession of mine.
Well, if successful, this could transform countries. Am I overstating it? I mean, if you are able to reach countries, and I mean on the list, Iran, Kenya, Mexico, Indonesia, Egypt, India, Senegal, Brazil, Vietnam, instruction in their native languages. This is a launch pad that has a multiplier effect, potentially.
It really, again, is successful, and we certainly hope that we will be successful. The idea that we will take really 21st century basic business skills and translate them to 40 different languages, comprising of 90% of the world population, and then further refine it to reflect the local cultural, social context to make sure that they are really understandable, and essentially making it available at no cost is really an amazing tool. And this is something that theoretically all major global institutions will get excited about. this is a kind of program that all major governments should really and would and will get excited about. It's not really politically, inclined in any way. And its intent is to really educate and create entrepreneurs around the world.
Right. This gets into Dr. Crow's vision of a new American university, where he's kind of flipped this whole thing of higher education. Instead of being very exclusive, he's tried to be very inclusive. And that is exactly in the spirit of this entire initiative you're part of.
Exactly. This idea of ours would not have been possible or implementable had it not been for the combination of Arizona State University and Thunderbird. Let me explain. Of course, Arizona State, we all have learned, that is now considered to be the most innovative university in the country, the 7th year in a row, and has mastered, quite candidly, better than any other institution, how to do online education. Add to that now Thunderbird, now a unit of Arizona State University, that is the only business school in the country that teaches business tools in the context of a local social cultural context. That is really has been always Thunderbird's differentiation. No other business school really understands that. So the combination of these two institutions really are the right platform because they understand it, they relate to it, it's part of their core mission. And my wife and I are very fortunate to have found a platform that share our ideas.
May I ask, how do you begin to try to find instructors in 40 different languages to teach online? How does that happen?
Well, we're not necessarily finding instructors in 40 different languages. These 5 basic business skills first got to be translated through the artificial intelligence. We hope that Google Translate will become available to us. There are advanced discussions about that. And then once you go through the artificial intelligence translation, then we will take it and further refine that translation to a socially, culturally understandable version, and then make it available online in every country in the world.
Got it. I just have to ask you, we've got a couple of minutes left, how your personal story animated this entire enterprise.
Oh, it has everything to do with it because it is the education that has really transformed my life and made me become functional. And in our belief, my wife and our belief, that education is part of your basic human rights. And it is really education that really give societies, it's a foundation for functioning societies and a thriving societies. And this platform could really have a massive impact and a transformative impact. Again, we have to implement it. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but we're super excited about it.
I can see that. And we're so happy that you've been part of this, and a very generous donation of $25 million to get it going and make this accessible to people all around the globe at no cost. It is a remarkable achievement. Francis Najafi, the founder of Pivotal Group and a big supporter of ASU and Thunderbird Global School of Management. Thank you so much for being with us. Best of luck.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Good to see you, sir. We're back in a moment on Newsmaker Saturday. If you want to catch a prior episode of Newsmaker Saturday, get the QR code out. You can get it right there. It'll take you right to the website, fox10phoenix.com/newsmaker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Newsmaker Saturday.